You didn't get my babbling.
There we go.
Now we're recording and now we are here. And we have some people who are joining us who we just before we let you in, they were practicing putting on a slideshow. So clearly they have things they want to share with us, whether it's slides or videos or both. And so what I want to do is be able to turn it to Katie. I think you're the boss, aren't you?
I'll take it today, but
Thank
Katie?
you, Katie.
Thank
We
you.
love that you're here.
Introduce yourself and take charge. We're ready to hear your stories.
all right. First of all, are we seeing me? No, we're not.
They are to the side. Right now they're seeing your screen.
Okay. Hold on a minute. So I need to get back onto the.
Well, we know we can do it because we did it before.
Is it down here? Down here.
Yeah.
Nope, that's photos.
Okay.
I don't know where my stuff is, guys. Wanting Apple TV to come on, and I don't know where my dock is, so I'm gonna
You
try my
wanna
Google
Get out of that. Just
Google Docs.
yeah. There you go.
Oh,
There. Yay.
Look at that. Look at that.
this is why I teach outdoors. I don't want to do this computer business. I'm Katie Schmidt, one of a team of 3, and that's one of the favorite things about our group is that we are a team of 3. So I'm taking on leader right now, but that's just because I was the first one to figure out the getting on here. But we wanted to share a little bit about our outdoor kindergarten program that's fairly new. And I'll be talking to you a little bit about how we started and what our daily structure is, a little bit about the who, what, when, where, and how. And we have a little video that was created for us this spring. And this just shows some of our sloths hanging around in the trees. So this was created by our district last spring when we decided to go for outdoor kindergarten at Gatewood School. So I can talk a little more about that after the video, but this really does tell a lot about who we are and what we're trying to accomplish. We'll see if this works. Oh, it does. Okay.
This is our veteran kindergarten information item.
No, that is not the one that we want to show you. Hang on a second.
Oh dear.
Okay, that's the wrong video. So I'm just gonna keep going while we do a little search for that. Getting out of there. Okay, good. Well, we started last spring. I actually went to the principal of our school and said, "Can I just teach outdoors next year?" And he said yes. And then from there, Kay McCarthy, who was teaching distance last year, was like, can I please teach outdoors too? And he said yes. And one of our team of 3 was not so interested in it. In the end, our principal ended up moving that person to a different spot and getting Ellen back to us. There's Ellen, who worked with us quite a few years ago and then had to be moved to a different school due to enrollment. And she had been doing some outdoor business at her school in 1st grade. So he got her back so that our entire team, he made the decision at that point that we would be only outdoor sections at Gatewood and not have an indoor option. And before that, if I rewind a little bit, we had all played around with outdoor education at Gatewood by having Forest Fridays or Woodsy Wednesdays, where we just kind of dropped everything and went to the woods. This came from about 10-ish years ago when Kay and I started seeing the same naturopath, and she had all these wonderful things for us to be thinking about for health, including be outside at least 2 hours a day. And the kids, well, they weren't even really getting too close to that. And we were sometimes not seeing daylight in the dead of winter. So we made that kind of a priority, and principals all along have supported us in doing all of this. So starting with Forest Fridays and then last year going to COVID protocols, it's really kind of funny. They went through our school and decided that our little hallway of kindergarten should be a one-way hallway. And so I roll my eyes a little bit, but that would leave us having to go out a door to get to other parts of the building, which I started doing. So that became my outdoor hallway walking, where we just go out the nearest door and we run to the door closest to where we want to get in. And we kept that up this year too. But we also spent a lot of time outdoors. It was really encouraged last year, I think, just all around the state, or all around the US. So when we decided that we were doing this, I wrote a grant to the Hopkins Education Foundation, and they approved the grant. The grant was written for $1,600 for startup. At that time, we thought we were just having 2 sections. Last year was a lot of surprises. We wanted mostly to have rain mud suits for the kids, and you'll get to see those later. And then we got some other things along the way. We got scrub brushes and whiteboard, clipboards, a fire pit, magnifying lenses, and PTO got us another thing that was very useful. We all got our own wagons. This kind of shows what we were looking like at the beginning of the year, because we kind of jumped in and didn't really know what this was going to be. So the video that we wanted to show you was actually produced for this event that we had last spring to say, hey, families, guess what? Your kids are coming to outdoor kindergarten next year. They're just trying to inform our preschoolers. We're doing this thing. So it's a beautiful video. Hopefully we can share it with you somewhere on here. And yeah, this was us at the event, and we had amazing things for kids to do, and they were very excited. But we really didn't know exactly what this was going to be, and we really didn't know until this spring. We had to kind of wait for our schedules to figure out what we could actually do. But let's see, moving on. It won't let me move to the next slide.
Oh, that's weird. Oh, maybe it's an editing. Okay, put that.
An edit is happening, so I will keep talking. So the reason why I think this is working for our district, I'll just say, is because our district is really looking at producing scholars for 2031, like thinking right now, what do we want our future scholars to be able to do, and how can we reimagine education? So it's really supported to do something outside of the box.
It should be working now.
So, okay, I'm gonna see if it's, oh, nope.
Something weird is happening.
Something is happening with our,
Oh, there.
hold on,
This is me.
that's you.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
Okay, hold on a second. Are you moving the slides now?
I didn't think I was in charge of it.
Oh,
I think we're all given the right. So let me just say, okay, it says that I'm sharing my screen, but okay, I'll just keep talking through all of this. So we went from 1 class to 2 classes to having 3 classes. What we think that we are an outdoor nature-based program, an inquiry and play-based program. And when we're trying to define what we are and who we are all about child choice and voice. We ask ourselves big questions, and we'll talk more about this later, but does this make sense to do outside? And how can we do this differently? How can we do this thing that we do differently outdoors? So we have been asking ourselves these questions all year long. Don't really know how to correct this so that we can change our.
So Katie,
Okay, no, is this, okay. Okay, I did figure it out.
okay.
So I want to show you a video of our first day of school, because I think when you talk about the how do you do this and what is this? Hold on. Okay. I think when you just take a bunch of kids and you go out into the woods, it can be a little bit scary. So this is a video from the very first day of school that I just took while kids were playing.
This is day 1 of free play in the woods, and what I see kids doing is exploring the entrances and exits that we talked about. So they're just finding one way out and coming right back in. Today we talked about boundaries and safety. I found you! You found me, all right. We played a game called 1, 2, 3, where are you? 1, 2, 3, here I am, so the kids can find us if they feel lost or uncomfortable.
So the kids had no trouble figuring out what to do, but they kind of at first just played the thing that we practiced. Where are the boundaries and how do we find each other? 1, 2, 3, where are you? 1, 2, 3, here we are. So that was day 1. We went out there with all kinds of possible things we were going to do, and we didn't know how the day was going to go. So this just started this past school year. Okay, the next big thing, and you're going to see a lot of our spaces through these slides, but where we chose a semi-boring meeting spot that has kind of a couple of walls, like a school wall, the parking lot that's a little bit contained, but outdoors, big enough for all 70-ish. We have up to 75 kids, big enough for all of our kids. And we wanted to have a group meet. Not only did we want to be outdoors, we wanted to make a community of learners. So we have all 3 of our classes mixing together at different times during the day. So the meeting spot, we pictured this beautiful morning sing. And we started the year doing little yoga. We did the predictable thing, the more we get together doing yoga each day. And we had to figure out sit spots at that time. I can move to a different picture, I guess. Oh, no. Move to the next one.
This is day 1 of.
Oh, now I see when people are presenting to me how that can happen where the video plays itself again. Okay, here we go. Here's our kindergarten community in a semi-boring outdoor spot. And we had a dedicated playtime. Once we figured out our schedule, we actually made playtime the priority. So it happens in the morning and it happens right after our morning meeting. And on the left, you'll see this is our chart where the kids choose where they're going to play each day. And we designed it so they can play in any one of our 3 classrooms if we're playing indoors, and in any of the 3 spots that we choose to play outdoors. And you'll once again see those places. So it's a lot of voice, a lot of choice. And besides the morning meeting and dedicated playtime, we worked at getting kids to be able to move from one classroom to another. And so far, that's kind of like almost like a rotation that older kids would do. So today we did this where my class went next door and Mrs. McCarthy taught them, and then they moved down the line to the next door. And in the winter months, some of that was indoors, and now it's very easy to do a lot of those things outdoors. So they're trained to go between our classrooms. They're trained to go play with any teacher outdoors where they want with any one of the 75 kids in our kindergarten program, and then all come back to their meeting spot, which is somewhere around this outdoor meeting area. We are always hauling wagons with us. Aprons with a Sharpie is a must. We have whistles, so I quack to my kids with a duck. We each have a different sounding bell or whistle to call our kids back. And we count them carefully because we've just had a couple of incidents this year where we missed getting a kid in with the group. So we're very careful to count these days. And we use those clip charts to organize where we're going. And I'm going to move to the next slide to see what else we have for you. Okay, those show the kids using our sit-upons earlier in the fall. We're just always going back and reimagining here because that was a dew issue, a morning dew issue. But in the winter, we just stood around there, or sitting in the snow was not an issue with snow pants. And now we are sitting on the perimeters or standing because we're trying to let the grass grow back. It's pretty matted down right now. And on the right, you'll see a picture of Mr. Squirrel. That's just one of the ways that we throw in some of our learning when we're outside. There'll be a help Mr. Squirrel is missing sign and positional words. Last seen between 2 branches, under a log, above something, on something. So Mr. Squirrel's kind of a mascot. These are the rain and mud suits that we got through our grant. They're fantastic. One little guy yesterday was submerged up to his chest in water that was only a couple feet deep, maybe 1.5 feet deep, but he stayed dry underneath except for his socks. So that was really incredible. They're holding up pretty well, and we thank the Hopkins Education Foundation for that because it gives parents peace of mind that their kids aren't going to be a total muddy mess. We encourage puddles. A lot of the rain boots were purchased from garage sales and Goodwill, and then some with the children. So everybody always has access to dry boots. And our day in the life of our kindergartners, we decided in planning all of this that we would do a soft start indoors because they need to get to the library and all of those things. So as beautiful as it would be just to meet outside, they do come in and we spend a little time in there. And then the way that our schedule worked out is that our specials with music and gym often are right away in the morning. So that worked out okay too. Then we go out, 10:45 is the first time we can all get out together. And that we're a 9:20 start. So we're here for a little over an hour before we can all get out together. But then we're out from 10:45 to 11:45 for our morning meeting and outdoor play. We're playing outdoors almost exclusively now. And then they come in for lunch, and we've decided to just have them eat indoors. We thought in the winter maybe they deserve that nice warm spot to eat, and not to toss up nutrition too much and try to figure all those things out this year. They go then right back out to play for recess. So a lot of times they still at lunch have their snow pants on or their rain suits or whatever they have. They just wear that to lunch. Lunch and recess. After that, we have an afternoon meeting that has changed throughout the years, throughout the year. And right now that's a time we meet to do some literacy outside. And then learning times, our afternoons are different depending on our individual schedules, but afternoon provides usually a pretty large chunk of time for outdoor learning time rotations between our classrooms. We have a naturalist assigned to us every 3 weeks, no, for 3 weeks, 3 weeks on, 3 weeks off, I guess is the best way to explain that. And he'll work with our kids for about 20 minutes, 4 days a week, doing something usually very engaging. And then most of us, well, we all have Spanish at some time really close to the end of the day. So that's kind of the day in the life of our kinders. They do get a lot of play scattered throughout the day. So that's a lovely thing. And then I'm going to hand it over here to Kay. So you're not going to see me anymore. Goodbye, everybody. Here you go.
Or at least you won't see her for a little while. She's kind of the queen of outdoor kindergarten. So, and I apologize if you heard the dog whining, barking thing. We also have a therapy dog who I think has had kind of a long day. It was her birthday today. So anyway, apologies if you heard that.
Put her on the screen.
Here, we'll show you Rilla. Okay, here we go.
There's Rilla, our therapy dog.
Okay.
That's a whole nother thing that's been an amazing addition in the last couple months. So as we were going to be outdoor kindergarten, we decided our indoor spaces, which are also lovely and we're thankful for, we would give an outdoor theme to each of them. So one room is Woodland Wayside, one is Butterfly Bend, and one is Owl Overlook. So it just makes for, like I said, a little, bring that beautiful nature indoors a little bit. And as far as using our spaces, Katie's mentioned some of it. Playtime is a big priority. And we've in our journey, as we're still discovering why do we do indoors, what do we do outdoors, we have finally given in and done some indoor play because kids benefit from that too. We love the outdoor play so much. So that's part of our journey, is balancing that, being indoors some for playtime. And I think another really important thing we've done community-wide is given kids choice and voice. And maybe Katie mentioned that, I don't remember. But during playtime, they choose which space to go. And they have that voice for what most interests them. And I think that, along with the time we've given them, the time and space when we're not so driven by curriculum, it has been some of the best gifts that we've given children. You're just airing, right? Yeah.
Cool.
Here's a map kind of our outdoor spaces. We have, we are very thankful for the outdoor spaces we have. It's phenomenal. So we vary where we go depending on the time of the year, maybe even the day. So we have one woods we call the 100-acre woods. The North Woods is another location we use, the garden area. And then you can't quite see on that far right side, that's our mud kitchen and down by the pond. You'll see some pictures. In the fall, we had no water in the wetland area. And we are now celebrating the water we have down there because it's amazing what kids can do and experience as we let them explore with a lot of freedom. We give them a lot of freedom, and we're so thankful for that. These are a couple pictures from the Northwoods. You can see there on the right in the fall as the leaves were changing. I included the picture on the left because, again, giving kids time and space is such a gift. And there happened to be this rope in the woods, and Isaac discovered if he took a stick on top of it, he made his own zip line. And other kids then were coming alongside and they were experimenting too and trying it. And that's how kids are discovering so many things about the world, about engineering, things like that. The 100-acre woods, again, is another beautiful area that kids free explore, learning at different times about certain things, but a lot of the time is free explore that they get in this woods also. The mud kitchen, which I was talking about. One of our kids and company staff so graciously built this little structure for us that's labeled, what is it labeled? The Muddy Gator. We're the Gatewood Gators. And so all kinds of pots and pans, utensils where they can create, dig, play. We've had some amazing creations. I had some good brownies, I believe, yesterday, some chocolate syrup. It's just so creative. And then you can see on the right, there's an area, kind of an outdoor classroom with stumps, logs to sit on, as well as kind of a teepee structure that has been built and added on to over the years. And it's the next one. Oh, yep, another good picture of what kids are making there. And then, as I said, we finally have water. And here is Kaya with her fishing pole, a stick she found. She literally was casting that day. So again, given time, they are learning so much as they explore. There's also a digging pit that was created specifically for that purpose. So we have shovels, trowels. Sometimes we bury things in there for them. And that was created near that area. And we finally had our first bonfire, which we had been waiting and waiting for. And we finally were brave and amazed. There was no issues. Kids just safely interacted and cooked their marshmallows. It was phenomenal. Ooh, Mount Snowmungus, as it's lovingly called. The district, when they plow our parking lot, thankfully it ends up in a huge pile at the end of the parking lot that is a top favorite all winter long, and amazing things happen there as well, as you can imagine. Kids, snow. Are you guys enjoying the therapy dog?
Yep.
They're getting a little therapy with our therapy dog. Again, as you can see, we have a rich, rich outdoor environment, a playscape where lots of sand and other places for creative play. Our naturalists built a hoop house this year, a place we could go to in the winter to get out of the wind and the cold, and warm enough that it melted the snow on the ground. So again, we're exploring ways as we're now outdoor, and next year, first grade, and after that, all of Gatewood. So we're exploring ways, figuring out ways we can be outdoors and be doing learning that maybe needs some warm hands. The garden area, again, a lot of free explore creativity. That's a place where we will bring other items for kids to create and explore with. what do we want to say about the videos of our program?
You want to pass it on over?
I would love to pass that over. And here comes Ellen.
Hi, everybody. I'm Ellen Dishinger. I'm the number 3 who couldn't get on the meeting. So nice to meet all of you. One of the fun things has been we've been on the news quite a bit. So I'm assuming that this slideshow will be shared with whomever wants to see it. But these are all the links to, okay, I'm getting a nod. All right. These are all the links to all of the news, the local news people that came out in the winter, just floored that we were still outside. That's one of the questions that cracks me up because we say we're outdoor immersion kindergarten. Even in the winter, it's like, well, yeah, winter's 6 months here. We have to be able to go outside.
It's the best time.
It is. It kind of is the best time because you can see things that you can't see other parts of the year. And I'll just share a few resources with you. I want to make sure we have time for anyone else's sharings and questions. We have really benefited with some of our community partners. The Hennepin County Library, I have a contact there, and they bring us story strolls a couple times a month. And you see one of our kiddos reading one of the story strolls, and they're all numbered so we can get our literacy, sight words, and some counting math skills in with these stories that they read through the woods, and they're all just beautiful. Love the Jeffers Foundation. I use their calendar in the classroom all the time, especially their monthly phonology notes. They have something for every week. And so we know what to look for. We have an imaginary chickadee that sends us messages and tells us what to look for. And then I include that for the parents too. And the final picture that you see of like the group gathered, one of our moms in my class, actually, she is a naval officer, and we met over our conferences, and she offered to bring a naval fire truck. Well, this turned into a really big deal. She had the Marines involved. They brought a fire truck and a transport vehicle, and the kids even got to like operate the fire hose. I mean, it was epic. So really learning how to engage parents as partners more too, and the wonderful things that parents can bring. And then this is just a Jeffers Foundation thing. I went to a workshop, and this is actually a cloud viewer. And so there's different types of clouds, and the kids are looking through trying to identify what sort of clouds they see. All right, and here's a close-up of the story stroll. Oh, and then, sorry, that was Rilla. That was not me barking. And then one of the things that we have just celebrated and bumbled through and fumbled through are our inquiry units. We've been really encouraged to have the kids drive the instruction. Well, we do input the standards, and the kids get to look at the topics. And we've learned about the range of that between teacher chosen and student chosen. So we did inquiry on leaves, but let's just share a couple fun stories. Is it okay if I share the story, Katie? So Katie was out in one of our outdoor classrooms, and one of the little kiddos disturbed a ground bee nest, and many children got stung. I mean, like the school nurse came running out, the principal came running out, kids were screaming. Anyway, after they calmed down, Katie turned it into this entire unit about bees. And she even brought out the bee puppet, and they had a whole conversation about why the bees stung. But that was taking this authentic experience and turning it into an inquiry unit. Yeah.
On the second day of outdoor kindergarten.
That was a day. That was a testing day. That was a testing. Very inspiring. And then, what did I do? Oh, sorry. Okay.
Pumpkin inquiry.
I didn't mean to do that. We did a pumpkin inquiry, and one of our friends donated a giant pumpkin, and we weighed all the kids against it. And this is Mr. Ike opening the giant pumpkin. But the funny part about it is the little girl whose family donated it, she was crying, and I was like, what's wrong? She was, I don't want Mr. Ike to destroy my pumpkin, to kill my pumpkin. And I said, oh, honey, well, it's starting to rot, so we need to return it to the earth. We'll save the seeds. You don't have to watch if you don't want to. And she goes, no, I want to watch. So here's Mr. Ike chopping the pumpkin.
Whoa!
There it is. Oops, sorry, we don't need to see that. Oh my goodness. What am I doing wrong?
I don't know. It's all a little bit glitchy.
Okay. No. Stop. you don't need to hear this.
Let me see here. I'll try to get to the end of it. All right. And
We can do this. We can do this.
okay. All right,
Okay,
we're
can we
off
go
that
to
one.
the next one? This is
Oh,
rolling
sure.
pumpkins down the hill. We don't need to see that.
Oh, except you will see it. Okay.
Okay,
Is that
let's-
another one?
Let's try to keep. Let's try to get off the video.
No more pumpkins.
Okay, this is what they do when you roll them downhill. And then- there we go.
That was pretty impressive.
See, even the adults are entertained at least, right? Okay, there we go.
Okay, thank you. So, so we actually were able to turn the whole pumpkin thing into a community day, and we invited folks from the district office to come and carve pumpkins. Here they're weighing pumpkins. This is when we put the pumpkins in the forest, and we got to watch what happened to them, and watch them decompose. That was really fun. Here they're exploring the guts, and then Kay had a really fun experience too, where the kids discovered mushrooms in the forest and they started talking about what mushrooms are. And so she got to do a whole inquiry unit all around mushrooms, which none of us would ever have, it's not part of the curriculum. We wouldn't have thought to do that. She even had us all grow mushrooms with varying success in our classrooms. All right. Oh, and so we've done an inquiry on snow, because when you're meeting outside and you're trying to get them to listen and all they want to do is dig in the snow, it's like, well, let's turn this into some learning. Okay. And then this was when we had our first bonfire. It was Mrs. McCarthy's birthday and the opening ceremonies for the Olympics. And so I don't know how our time is. I have to play this video because Kay got dressed up and her husband made this torch for her to, carry. And it was.
Olympic torch! That was amazing!
Okay, Emily.
Okay, let's see here if I can get it on. There we go.
And then that turned into various Olympic events, including boot skating with our chairs,
Hockey.
and boot hockey, curling. It was very exciting. And what are we doing here?
Ice sculptures.
Oh, right, of
Or
course.
snow sculptures.
Snow, yeah. And then the standards, I think that's you, Kay. And you can have this spot right here. And we'll bring Kay back to talk about standards.
And you can entertain the dog. We're taking turns entertaining the therapy dog. Oh dear. So the big question, well, one of the big questions, there's many, is if we're not using the curriculum, how are we knowing what kindergartners are learning and should be learning? So that's where we decided to go standards based. And actually, as we look at standards versus the curriculum we're using, we're like, this is going to be pretty easy to do, which most of you can imagine with kindergarten, with the basics we're doing. So stick letters are big. It's been an all year long thing, or a tree in the shape of. So that's been tons of fun all year long. Writing their names, we use some of the dirt areas to write letters, write numbers, just a natural and fun way to be doing that out of doors. We also are incorporating through our rotations that we do some of the standards. Native American Studies was an area, engineering unit. We're doing another one right now that Katie is heading up, which totally connects with the outdoors. It's about cleaning up the pollution in a pond for the ducks. And we're actually practicing in our own water, which is amazing. Kids are down there now all the time with sticks, clearing out leaves, whatever they can get, which again, connecting with our world and what we want them to be aware of is huge there. Math, we've done in many, many ways too. When you need to make a collection of objects, pretty easy to find pine cones or rocks, or you can imagine. I also learned over lunch one day, I wonder if we can write in the snow with markers and if it'll work. It does. So sometimes we've done our math writing with, as you can see, numbers in the snow. We were working on 10 frames that day too. Again, more writing outside. Now it's chalk. We're loving writing with chalk in different places. And again, when it's nice, you know, we can be right out there on the ground, the sidewalk with clipboards writing also. Oh, that's our last picture. So the other way, you know, calendar time, some of just the normal things we do every day, a lot of standards aren't met through things like that. Other rotations we've done, US symbols. We just started incubating eggs today. Boom. So that's one of our all-time favorites we do every year. A lot of things will be incorporated through that also.
Okay.
So there we go. Hopefully some of that made sense. And
We're looking less freaked out than we were at the beginning of the year.
there you
is the idea.
go. Now we're like, we got this. We got this. Especially together. I just can't tell you enough about the team collaboration. We are so, so thankful for how we work together. And that makes a huge difference. So stop
Questions?
sharing. Should we stop?
Yeah, sure. And you can stop sharing, but there's also in the chat, there's some questions and some comments. First of all, I'll just make it clear. A lot of people here thought you were inspiring. I don't know where that came from.
You're funny, Joe.
But thank you
Thank you
so
for
much.
just like taking the dive and going outside. You just don't know, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So one of the questions from Heidi is, would you say that your program is Reggio inspired? Speak to that.
For me, definitely. What I know about Reggio, you can put in a thimble, but what I've seen with the student centeredness, the hands-on, the nature-based, the you know, really just looking at being respectful of the child and looking through the eyes of the child is something that we inherently all wanted to do. It's not formal. But I have a website that I love to follow. I call her my online spirit sister. But that whole idea of making it whole child and nature based and hands-on and play centered, just I think that speaks to Reggio, and I think we could do more with it. We're definitely being inspired by it.
And our preschool does follow the Reggio
Yeah.
Mhm.
Oh,
format too.
well, there we go. Excellent. And then Heidi, later down the line here, asked another series of questions. So I'm going to ask all of them in a row because they're all related, and then I'll just let you speak to it. So is your campus open to the public? Do you have any issues with vandalism? And do you have any tips for good storage options to store items and keep them dry? All those types of questions.
Do you want to do that one?
Sure.
Okay.
There, it is open to the public, you know, public school, which there is a moment to stop and just celebrate that outdoor ed is part of a public school. You don't have to go to and pay at a private school for kids to experience this. But yes, I mean, vandalism happens. I know during COVID, some of the outdoor classroom things they had set up, you know, got ruined from people in the neighborhood. We do have a couple sheds, but I would say most of our stuff we store inside.
Yep.
We don't leave a lot out there. Again, we're just very grateful for the indoor space we have.
And the sit-upons we would keep in just big plastic bins, for lack of better.
Yeah, those are
Space.
outdoors, right?
And our secretary too has access to like the community websites. And so when we've had trouble, she's been really good about just reaching out. And I think the community has been responsive. Like the beginning of the year, we had a lot of people leaving their dog mess behind right in our spaces where we were meeting. And she sent out just a message, and that really, knock on wood, hasn't been much of an issue lately.
True.
Yeah, but I think we have a community that really wants to get behind what we're doing.
And we're really locked in tight here. I know that our map made us look pretty big, but we are like 2 blocks long and 2 blocks deep until you get to houses all the way around us.
Yeah, true.
It looks like an amazing space, right? The map, and I'm sure that it is.
And what I like about that too is that people always think we need a big naturalist area, but you can have a 2 block by 2 block area and it can be an amazing space. So thank you.
Amy has a few questions here. What types of assessments do you use for academics? The same as the rest of the district, or have you adapted?
That's an ongoing conversation for us. And so this year we did use the same kind of checklist for letters, sounds, and number recognition, those types of things as we've used in the past, just so we had a baseline. And we've gone back and checked that same assessment throughout the year. But we did not take part in one of the assessments that normally they would have had us do, that was a computer-based assessment. We said no thanks to that, and we were allowed to say no thanks to that one. It was one that didn't really show us a lot of anything that would,
Yeah,
wouldn't drive our
inform your
instruction.
teaching, right?
So, and then just recently, we kind of thought it would be a nice idea. This was a really big jump too. We jumped right out of reading groups. Like, goodbye. So, but we're just kind of curious because we're seeing that some of our kids really are reading, and we've worked on the standards, but we haven't met in these groups where we would normally see where their struggles were in that. So we're having them assessed with the assessment that they would have been used to place them in reading, just to see kind of where they're at, see how this group compares to previous years.
Cool.
But that's
Thanks for doing that research. That will be interesting to hear what you learn.
Yeah. So right now, this is the last question, but I encourage anybody else who has questions to go ahead and add them. Kelsey asked a question, which I'm gonna rephrase just a little bit. Tell us about the training that you've had for outdoor education and inquiry-based learning.
I was able to get a master's degree in environmental education, which has been wonderful just in understanding research and being able to support the program with the research that's actually been already completed, supporting outdoor education for students. I think we've all done a little bit with Jeffers. I did their 3-day co-teaching with Mother Nature, which was absolutely, I use that stuff all the time. And we just went to Dodge Nature Center Preschool last week. Our whole team, like even our paras, got to go and look at some of the logistics and again, the Regio and all of that and how to enhance our program further. We do our own professional development with a book that we're reading about inquiry-based, and it's pretty nature-based early childhood. Am I missing anything? Are there other things that are worth mentioning?
I think part of it though, you don't need a big training or development, go outside. I think that's a lot of, it's like, let's just jump in and try it. And we're going to learn what works, what doesn't. And I think we all have an interest in the natural world, which helps. And some knowledge, each of us different things. Even bring in Nature Dan, my husband, he'll come and do things. And this is a good time to shout out to Larry Wade, because he was Larry Wade. Larry,
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Big shout out.
She's shouting out to you too. Larry set a foundation for us too in loving the natural world and learning about it. So I would say, don't worry like, oh, I need some training. Nope, you jump in. Inquiry, we've taken baby steps and we've learned things. So if you're wondering, go for it.
The inquiry will slap you in the face. Like the bees, and we even stopped to do an inquiry on grass because we found ourselves getting annoyed with them sitting in the grass out there. Well, why would we be annoyed with them sitting in the grass? Let's all grab it and feel it and smell it and see if you can tie it in knots, and then we could move on from that. But yeah, they will let you know what they're excited about learning about.
Exactly. The first step is always engage with nature. Hello,
So it's fun. Clearly, there are people who are thinking the same questions as me. Heidi asked it real quick. Tell us about the masters. Where did you get it from?
Concordia, Portland. Unfortunately, they are no longer in operation, but it was a
Oh,
fully online program, and I was able to do it in a year.
wow.
Yeah, it was
Wow.
intense, but I learned so much.
Yeah. And then the other one is about the book. We'd love to know the title of that. Could we
Inquiry
hear
book.
more about the children's opportunities for writing as well? But the book, and then children's opportunities for writing. Speak to that.
Well, through the earlier part of the year, it was a lot of informal, using sticks and that sort of thing just to practice print, especially names at the beginning of the year. But now we're moving more into journaling, and a lot of that is nonfiction. It's a lot of writing for the purpose of what you notice, what you see. So right now we're writing each day as we are watching the chicks develop. Inside the eggs, we are drawing and writing and labeling about those things. So they also have little fanny pouches. They're called Explorer Packs that were donated to us from a donor that Ellen has. And they have little notebooks and pencils inside of them too. And now that the weather isn't totally, wet out there, we have been bringing those out, and the kids have been, if you think about the science we're doing now, where we're trying to design a trash collector, we have kids that are going out and taking notes and things like that just on their own during their playtime. So you're seeing the writing, the literacy spill into their play.
Should I hold up the book?
Yeah.
This is the one
Yeah.
we're studying.
There we go. And what's fun here
Thank you
is
for
that
sharing that. Yeah.
Anna Dudke will definitely get that on our website, so that people will be able to just click on that sort of a thing, get that information. So the fact that it's in this little video, that's our little capture for that. So thank you for doing that. Yeah.
Oh, speaking of books, I just have to mention one of the first books that inspired us. We were at a conference, and one of the speakers, I can't remember her name, she wrote,
Angela Hanscom.
way to go, Ellen.
Balanced and Barefoot.
We're a team. Yeah, Balanced and Barefoot. Oh my word, that
Oh,
kind of
nice.
turned my world
Oh,
upside
yeah.
down.
Oh,
And
yeah.
what I learned from her about what the benefit for children just being outdoors.
That's awesome. Well, there aren't other questions coming up here, and I do see that we're coming to the end of our time. I want to remind everybody here that this we captured this on video, and that's going to be on the website as well, so we can reference that as well. And that you gave us a lot of different resources, and that we're going to do our best to be able to pull those out and put them on the website so people can get to them. But I would love to close this by asking each of you if there's just one message that you hoped that any of us watching got out of this. I'd love to hear maybe 3 different versions, or maybe you're going to all give us the exact same thing, but I want to give you 3 shots at it. What's one message you hope that everybody got?
I'll start.
You go.
This goes back to way back when we just started once a week. I took be careful out of my vocabulary, because in our culture, it's, I believe, a thing for us to say to kids. So I worked very hard, and it hardly ever comes out of my mouth anymore. Let kids, watch, but let kids explore. Guys, do you have anything?
I would say it's all easier than one thinks to take a group outdoors. And when we wondered all of these what ifs, and what if, how are we doing this and that, it all gets figured out, and it just is easier than I thought it would be. It cannot be a thing that is 100% planned. You have to be flexible, and you go out with maybe a purpose, and you might come back in with a whole different experience, and that's okay.
I think that the biggest thing for me is, outdoors is good for everyone. All learners benefit from being outside. Keep it simple and have good rain boots.
Yes. Dry feet are essential.
Well, Is the more comfortable we are, the longer we'll stay outside.
Mhm.
Right. And I would extend that sometimes we forget teachers need to be as comfortable as the students.
Mhm.
That's awesome. Thank you so much. I have really enjoyed participating in, hosting with Sue and with Anna, these various workshops over the past couple of years. And I'll tell you, it's when we have folks just like you who share their passion, share their stories, their real lived experiences, and connections to Larry or whoever, right? Any of those types of things, those are the most inspirational. And so I count this as one of the most fun that I've been here for. So thank you for making that happen.
Thank you.
Yeah. And thank you for the work that you're doing with our students, because we know what they're going to be like as young adults and beyond. Yeah. Thank you.
And we'd invite you if you're interested in coming to see us. We've had a lot of visitors and you're welcome. Just call the school and make a plan and stop by and see what we're
Play.
up to. Come play with us.
Oh,
Play.
thank you for doing that. Yeah. It says here, Heidi says, the journey often offers more than the destination.
Mm.
Thank you for the wonderful presentation and bringing this to the Hopkins district. Maybe more programs will be jumping on board. Isn't that what we all want?
So,
Mhm.
yep.
Just want that. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Excellent. Thanks everybody for coming. And again, this is going to be on our website, so you get to watch it all over again if you want more inspiration.
Why not? Come on.
Oh, have a great day.
Thank you,
Bye.
everyone.
Thanks.
Thank you.